Kazi ni Kazi, brought to you by the Ministry of Industrialization. The Ministry of Industrialization, tunaimarisha viwanda.
Wananchi wenye bidii hawachoki kutafuta riziki zao. Usinicheke, naendeleza gurudumu la maendeleo. Kazi ni kazi, kazi ni kazi.
As the building and construction industry in Kenya takes an upward trend, a tiles manufacturer in Kitengela is set to take the industry to an even higher level. Started only a year ago, Flamimgo Tiles becomes the second company to manufacture purely Kenyan ceramic tiles in the country after Suraj, and his family stamped its presence in East Africa as a producer of quality wall, floor, mosaic and border tiles.
We are the first and probably the only company, and maybe will be the only company, to export tiles to West Africa. We have exported tiles to Mali, to Togo and to Ghana.
The carefully conceived slogan and logo tells of an entrepreneur with the interests of a country at heart, a characteristic that is probably the reason behind a product that is proudly Kenyan.
Flamimgo tiles are totally made in Kenya, with respect to the process, with respect to the talent involved, with respect to the people who are involved in making the tiles.
But for a product whose main ingredient is locally available, clay, which Kenya has in plenty, countries such as China and India continue to reap big from exporting tiles to Kenya.
Unless there is a support from the various manufacturing associations, number one. Number two, from the government in terms of promoting local industry, this industry, I'm sorry to say, will not succeed.
And as cheap imported tiles flood the Kenyan market, the company's financial controller says there exists a huge demand for quality ceramic tiles. According to Sritha, it's this gap that Flamimgo Tiles Limited has come in to fill.
Our tile has much better quality than what is imported, what is there in the imported stuff. The mechanical strength is much higher, the thickness is much higher.
From mixing and grinding of raw materials, the entire tile making process is an interesting procedure. With an estimated turnaround time of about 16 to 18 hours, small heaps of clay are turned into shiny plates used for home decor.
The primary requirement is the raw materials. You need to source about, say, 7 to 10 different types of raw materials, which we bring it from Nyeri, Muingi, Kalama, Nungini, and a lot of other locations. We burn it at a degree, at 550 degrees centigrade, and this slurry is then made into fine powder. And then, once it is stored, it is taken into silos, and from the conveyor belt, it goes into the press department. The press department is the primary department where you press these powder into tiles, required size tiles. From press, it goes through a dryer section, and then it goes into a glaze line section. That's the section which is required for printing of the designs required.
But as we learned, it's this machine known as kiln that is the basis of tile making. It's what manufacturers use to squeeze water out of the damp tiles and make them strong enough to withstand breakage.
Once it goes into the kiln, the tile is heated from 0 degrees to about 1200 degrees centigrade, and then the real tile comes out.
The tiles are then packaged and are ready for the market. The road to a seemingly successful venture has, however, not been without challenges. Besides stiff competition from cheap imported tiles, the manufacturers are currently grappling with high cost of energy, spending up to 23 million per month on electricity alone.
The energy cost constitutes about 60 to 70% of the tile cost.
With the energy costs so high, the manufacturers have now devised a strategy for alternative fuel. These briquettes made from sugarcane waste have come in handy to provide much needed fuel. Even with such obstacles, Flamimgo Tiles has created employment opportunities, and so far more than 400 people depend on the plant for their daily bread. But for the tile industry to make a considerable impact, a number of policies need to be adopted in order to create a favorable environment for investors to do business.
As far as the legislation is concerned, either subsidy should be provided to the local industry in terms of lesser rates for LPG or subsidy on the KPLC power. We should not be treated on par with anybody else.
In the meantime, the tile manufacturers say they owe their success to the Industrial Development Bank Capital Limited for supporting a simple idea which now contributes to the country's economy.
IDB was very helpful in the sense they have provided us the working capital required for the company when the company was looking for funds. Now, IDB, it basically looks at the whole project. Number one, the potential the project has as far as the local economy is concerned, then the employment opportunities which are generated, etc., etc.
But as Srithis says, the biggest responsibility probably lies with the Kenyan consumers.
The minute anybody probably lays an imported tile, that means they have exported, say, 10 jobs to that particular country in which they have imported the tile from. We all together should build Kenya and promote the Kenyan products.
Kazi ni kazi.
Our attraction towards Flamimgo tiles was informed from first them being a Kenyan company, utilizing Kenyan raw materials, making products for the Kenyan people, and at pricing and quality that would go a long way in boosting the sectors of building and construction and manufacturing. For IDB as such, getting involved with small and medium enterprises, offering them advisory services, offering them finance and monitoring, project monitoring and such, we ensure that the track developed in a business plan is sustained.
Kazi ni kazi. Brought to you by the Ministry of Industrialization. The Ministry of Industrialization, tunaimarisha viwanda.
Ni wananchi wenye bidii, hawachoki kutafuta riziki zao. Usinicheke.